There's an island atmosphere today on Live with Lori, and Florida Senate President Mike Haridopolos is jamming in the kitchen. The pecan crusted mahi and pineapple mango salsa is ready, but is Mike Haridopolos prepared for Lori's feature question? Find out now on Live with Lori.
Hi, and welcome back to Live with Lori. We've had a great day here with the Senate President, Mike Haridopolos. We've made a pecan crusted mahi with a pineapple mango salsa. We're getting ready to take the fish out of the oven right now, and then we're gonna plate it, and then we're gonna come back and eat it. And while we're doing that, I'd like to think about the next question. This is our signature question.
Okay.
If you were king for the day, which law would you enact or change?
Will I get both on this?
No, you only get one. Doesn't that look great?
It looks awesome. Let me put this for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, this smells great too.
All right, well, while I'm plating this is beans and rice. If you'd like the recipe, you can go to livewithlori.com. So have you thought about your answer, Mike?
I have. You know, there's a lot of things I'd like to repeal, clearly, but if I could pass any law, it would definitely be to have a balanced budget amendment in Washington. I think the one thing about Florida is that we have a balanced budget amendment here in Florida. So we know when we go up to Tallahassee every year, we have to balance the budget, period. And I think they can do the same thing in Washington right now, considering, I think, for every dollar they spend, something like 41 cents is borrowed. So
I'll
clearly,
hold that for you.
All right. So clearly a balanced budget amendment would go a long way in turning around this country and give a little bit of confidence back to the people who want to invest in America, whether it be in the bonds of America, or more importantly, when people want to start a business, they know that government can extract more of their wealth from them.
That would be a tough sell for a lot of people up there.
Well,
because you can only...
Obama asked for change. I'm asking for a new kind of change. And clearly, I think what we did in Florida this year was the right thing. And I think it's one of the reasons why, since the beginning of the year, Florida has created about 100,000 new jobs. And I think it's because we're actually offering them a little bit of stability and predictability. And that's a little more sanity from the government. And Washington clearly can use a little more sanity.
I totally agree with that. How about you put a little bit of salsa on that?
Okay. Right on top or on the side? Or?
Just wherever you think it might look pretty.
Okay.
Mike, now that we've talked about the federal government, what would you change in the Florida? What's the one thing that you really would like to enact or dispose of?
Well, I think the best thing we could do, and I talked about earlier, is to put that spending cap in place. Mm-hmm. We've done the first part, which is to actually place it on the ballot. And if I was king for the day, I would make sure that we got 60% of the people to vote for it. And it sounds so obvious or cliche, but that's the key, is that when you don't give us money, we can't spend it.
That's so true, isn't it? If you don't have it in your pocket, you can't.
That's right.
You can't buy anything.
And what happens in Tallahassee is they basically say, how much money do we have to spend? And then they go and spend it. Mm-hmm. So if you don't send it up there in the first place, they can't spend it. And so if I was king for the day, I'd definitely go in that direction. I think that would be what would be most helpful for us. And in this day and age, again, all people are really looking for is a little bit of consistency.
Right.
Out of Washington and just out of even our role models. I mean, there's just no consistency there. And that's what makes a great parent. And obviously that makes a great government. And if you offer that consistency to your kids, if you offer that consistency as a leader in the legislature, then people know what they're getting. Mm-hmm. It's when they have that unease or that uncertainty, and that's where they make bad decisions, or they're afraid to go out and invest or spend money.
Right, right. Well, you've certainly done a lot for the state of Florida, and we appreciate it. What's happening in the local level? I mean, you are the representative or senator from this district. What's happening locally?
Well, one of the big issues we're all frustrated by is what's happening at NASA right now. We are known as the Space Coast, and unfortunately, the President of the United States could not keep his promise that he had made back in 2008. And so for the last few years, we've been working diligently to try to do everything possible to get the commercial space aspect going at NASA. And that means companies like SpaceX. And we've made a massive investment in the last 2 years up in the Florida legislature to try to really encourage commercial space development, working with Space Florida. Because we believe that will be the jobs of the future. And of course, we've all benefited from the technology, whether it be cell phones, internet, cable, all of that the space industry brings. But as Washington, D.C. has failed us, the good news is in the legislature, we have stepped up like never before to help our space industry. It's so vital to our community. And so many people are relying their jobs on that issue too.
That is such an important investment in this area. Obviously we both live here. Yeah. What about locally? I mean, what do you think, what's happening here in the Atlantic? I mean,
Well, I think one of the issues that because my wife and I and our friends have our ear to the ground so much is the issue of the pill mills. These are the powerful narcotics, quickly addictive. And a lot of people are becoming addicted to these powerful narcotics, oxycodone and so forth. And this is not your usual drug like LSD or heroin, the usual drug addicts. These are moms and dads, young kids who can very easily get addicted to this narcotic. Sadly, we had a doctor in this very community really pushing this. Fortunately, he was recently arrested. And just this past year, the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, and I really dug our heels in. My wife, in fact, helped out in the effort as well to make sure we have the toughest program in place to make sure that Florida is no longer the pill mill capital of America. I mean, again, this is how we can step up in a small way to really make a big difference in people's lives, because once people get addicted to these pills, it is very difficult to get off, and the behavior becomes a major problem.
That's so important for our communities. You've really been busy in this state.
It has. Now, again, I got to applaud to our friend Jack Parker. They made that recent arrest. But this is a real issue on the beach, and I'm glad to see we're really stepping up in a thoughtful way to protect the public.
Mike, that's such a great answer, and thank you for all the hard work that you've done for our state and for our community. And I know that everybody in this community and around the state, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. But be sure and stay tuned, because we'll be right back with the Senate President Mike Haridopolos, and we're going to taste some of this fantastic fish.
Florida Senate President Mike Haridopolos is riding on the island vibe after Lori's feature question, but we're pretty sure we've heard his stomach growling. Bring your appetite, because it's time to eat when we return to Live with Lori.